back to the... Oh my gosh, Zoe, it is so windy. It's so windy. Well, I mean, it's still kind of windy.
Yeah,
That's just not as much. Okay. Well, let's finish this. That was kind of awkward. Welcome back to the Empire Bulldog Book Talk, where we read popular children's books.
Instead of just reading the books to you, we'll be in your classrooms.
This week we are reading
Groundhog's Special Secret.
Let's go.
Are you sure?
Do y'all know what tomorrow is?
Yes.
What is
tomorrow?
No school. No maybe.
So close.
Snow day.
Snow day?
Tomorrow's
what-
Groundhog
Yeah.
Day.
So we dig down the groundhog? Yeah.
No.
What?
What-
I'm gonna dig in the ground.
What happens on Groundhog Day?
So I have to go tusk it, something in a box in the belly. Did I grow a piggy nose? In white tail.
Well, we're going to
Okay.
find out with this book. Y'all ready?
We go hunting. Yeah, we go hunting. I want to go hunting.
Okay.
I'm not sure fly in a plane and we go on vacation.
Okay.
Struggling?
That's what I'm going on tomorrow. I'm going on vacation.
You know, I wish I would. Alright, so this book's called Groundhog's Special Secret. Lila twirled around and around in the candle-lit den. On the wall, her shadow spun like a whirling top. Time for all groundhogs to be in bed, Papa called. But I'm not tired, Lila cried. I can't possibly sleep all the way until spring. Now, Lila, Mama said. Everyone else is in bed. Uncle Wilbur is about to head for his den. Lila made a face, and her drowsy brother and snoring sister, and began to waltz with her shadow. She knew that above ground, chilly wind shivered through the forest, and flat gray squirrels scurried to check on their hidden acorns. Down below, her family saw happily to climb into bed and pull up fluffy covers under their furry chins. Every one of them was ready for a long winter sleep, but not Lila.
I hate to go to bed, she said. It's such a long, long time until spring. That's how I used to feel when I was young, Groundhog, Uncle Wilbur said. But now I enjoy all the rest I can get. You always get up early to go above ground, Lila said. What do you do up there? Aren't you scared to go all alone? Is it cold? Is it snowy? Is anyone else around? What do you get up there? If I answered all your questions, I'd never get to sleep, said Uncle Wilbur. Even worse, I'd give away the secret. What secret?
The secret of the first one up, said her uncle. But I want to know, said Lila. I love secrets. Then make sure you're up early than anyone else, said her uncle. That's the only way to know. That's how it's always been, and that's the fun of it. He scooped Lila up under her bed, and tucked her into bed, and kissed her goodnight. See you in the spring, he said, tiptoeing to the door. But how will I know when to wake up? Lila called after him. Uncle Wilbur's voice echoed from the tunnel. Just try to beat me.
Lila listened to Papa's rumbling snore and Mama's deep, even breathing. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be the first one up, she said, yawning. But the only way to be sure is to not go to sleep at all. She rubbed her eyes and yawned again. I'll think of exciting things like digging new tunnels and running through the forest and mysterious secrets and... Then Lila was spinning. Down and down she spun into the warm darkness of a winter sleep.
Above ground, the days passed. Storms roared, branches snapped. Snow fell and melted and fell again. Cardinals flashed red through the white landscape and perched on ice-covered branches. Deer wandered through the trees, searching for food.
And then one day, Lila's eyes flew open. She leaped out of bed. Who's there? What happened? She cried. Nothing moved. No one was awake, but Lila knew, from the smell of the air and the feel of the earth, that a long time has passed since her Uncle Wilbur had tucked her into bed. Uncle Wilbur, he had challenged her to be the first one up, but maybe he was already above ground, and she would never learn the secret. Lila pulled on her clothes and ran along the dark, silent tunnel.
Uncle Wilbur, I woke up all by myself, she called, poking her head out of the den. She patted the sleeping bulgy blankets. I beat you. What do you think of that? Her Uncle Wilbur snored softly. Let's go above ground, Lila called. She shook his shoulder. Come on, let's go. Not yet, he murmured. A few minutes more. But Lila couldn't wait, not even one more minute. She had to be out under the open sky, to breathe the wind blowing through the forest clearing, and to hear birds calling. She just had to know the secret.
Lila hurried up the tunnel toward the light. Bursting out into the open air, she found herself surrounded by those who stayed awake all winter. Squirrels, deer, beaver, foxes, rabbits, raccoons, cardinals, chickadees, badgers, and porcupines.
Tell us, they cried. Do you see it? Lila blinked in the bright light. See what? She asked. Your shadow, cried the animals. Do you see your shadow? Was the secret about shadows? The animals stood watching her. No one moved. The clearing became still, that Lila's ears roared with silence. She took a deep breath. The air felt cool and smelled piney and brand new.
Lila looked down at the ground, searching for gray shadows that had danced with her in the candlelight. She looked to her left and looked to her right. She twisted around and looked behind her. Suddenly, Lila felt lonely, the only groundhog awake without even her little shadow for company. I'm sorry, she said. I don't see it. Don't be sorry, the animals cried, dancing around the clearing. Spring is coming. Spring is coming, Lila asked. But how do you know?
An old badger stopped his dance and peered at her curiously. My Uncle Wilbur said if I was the first one up, I would learn a secret, Lila said. Ah, yes, the secret, said the old badger. It's very simple. Every year, the first groundhog up to this day has a special job of looking for his or her shadow. If it's there, then there will be 6 more weeks of winter, and the groundhog hurries back to bed. I wouldn't hate that, Lila said. If, like today, the shadow is there, the old badger continued. It means spring is coming, and we all rejoice. But you need the sun to have a shadow, Lila said. So a beautiful sunny day means winter's staying, and a cloudy gray day means spring is coming. That seems backwards to me.
Just then, Lila heard a familiar voice behind her. Backwards it may be, but it's the way of shadows in spring, said her uncle, climbing out of the tunnel. I did it, Uncle Wilbur. I did it, she cried. I was the first one up, and I learned the secret. And is it true about spring? Is it already coming? Would all our neighbors wait for the first groundhog each year if we didn't do a good job of predicting spring? Uncle Wilbur asked.
If spring is coming, can we go down below and wake everyone up, Lila asked. Can we make some acorn pancakes and have a picnic to welcome spring? My stomach is grumbling already, said her uncle. Lila slipped her little paw into her uncle's big one. We won't tell anyone our secret, will we? She asked. Of course not, said Uncle Wilbur, smiling down at her. Lila smiled back. Because that's how it's always been, and that's the fun of it, she said.
Did y'all like that story?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So what did the groundhogs do?
We try to find the source. shadow.
Yes, exactly.
What if they see their shadow?
What's a shadow? What's a shadow? It's a reflection of winter.
Yeah.
Yes.
You think the groundhog's gonna see a shadow tomorrow?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You hope not. Why not?
I want to be in a book.
You're gonna be in a book.
I might.